on the things worth knowing side, there's two specific provisions I put in here. And I'll be brutally honest and say I had missed the one that I'm going to mention. Um, because I knew they were testing it last year. I didn't realize that they'd actually gotten this far. And that is there had been an announcement in last year's budget speech that they wanted all public benefit organizations that issue Section 18A certificates to do the equivalent of an IT3B certificate or an IT3B system for interest, but just for Section 18A donations. So effectively a way in which the PBO can keep a record, submit to SARS of these are the 18A certificates we issued this year, these were the taxpayers that we issued them to, these were the quantums that we issued them for, or to upload them, and those should pre-populate to your tax return. This was trialed last year with interested stakeholders and parties. It is now officially up and running. The projected go live date for that is 1 April. All right, so 1 April 2023, PBOs will need to, that issue Section 18As will have to do an IT3 process. Right, exact details still to follow once they've actually formally released them, but the proclamation did go out to say this is definitely happening. Tied in with this, so yes, in the same way that you keep your own IT3t certificate, in other words, you keep your own record of your interest that you've received, you would still need to keep the 18A certificate that you got when you made your donation. This would just be, it's a back office check almost to make, because people have been committing significant, to be blunt, there's no other way to put it, fraud with 18A to try and get donations. So it's a way of keeping everyone on the straight and narrow, as it were. It also means that the PBOs are officially on the hook for keeping track of the certificates that they've actually issued and what they're issuing them for. Because there's definitely also been a huge incidence of taxpayers who've issued 18A certificates when they're not actually appropriately authorized to do so, number one, or number two, where they don't, where the certificates are issued for activities or expenditure which don't actually qualify. So that's definitely something that they're looking into. Leaving that there, September 2023, IT3Ts. What is an IT3T? It is the same idea as 18A certificates and interest, except for trust distributions. So effectively, by September 2023, all your Feb 2023 trusts need to submit a list of all the distributions made, along with the taxpayers that they've been made to, and a detailed register and reconciliation of the distributions made. Right. So the current proposal for both of these is that they are going to be piggybacking off the existing IT3 infrastructure. So it will be through e-filing. They've got some draft releases on the what do they call it again? The BPR, so the business process reviews, in terms of what those formats will look like that they issue for all of your EMP 501s and the rest as well. But it will be through easy file or e-filing, dependent on how, yeah, the BRS. They've got the specs out there already to go and say that it will be through one of those two platforms. Okay. They did also indicate that for especially the PBOs, because they've got the earlier release date, they will be going on an additional education drive. I think they're actually just trying to get through budget at this point and obviously provisional taxes. And then there'll be a couple of additional information sessions and awareness campaigns to make sure that you understand your requirements. As for the trusts, this particular reconciliation process is still in the testing process. They've got people who are live testing the system at the moment. That testing process is meant to finish by the end of April, just in time for us to effectively start doing the live year-end returns. Also, what this really tells us, reading between the lines, SARS 2024, very much hot, very much ready to go and raring to go, and they're being very serious about making sure that we stay up to date, but also that SARS is very much looking at taking away any excuse for taxpayers to not to be able to submit by October. So I do think that's also where part of this is going, and that we're going to have to start having the conversations with our clients and actually with our own practices and with our own admin to ask the question as to whether we actually have capacity to assist clients or to do the preparation for these additional returns in September. Um, on the one hand, it does make life easier, but it also does mean that you're being told to commit a lot sooner than we normally would have for a trust. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this one goes live.